Deku and Bakugo right away start their 10 months off good. Straight away going for sparring sessions and even cooking up some super moves before they did in UA. They both reached new heights with their quirks, Deku being able to produce more and more thermite quicker and quicker as time went on, finally culminating in the day of the exam. They walk in together, watching Uraraka fall over and kind of just laughing a little bit, going inside and chatting a little bit before doing the theory test. After that, they meet up outside and talk about the practical exam, sitting through the little presentation by President Mike and eventually dapping each other up, splitting and going to their own practical site. Deku lines up this time at the front of the pack, wanting to get a better start. Everyone sits and chats or stretches. Deku though stares at his hands. He makes some thermite, putting it into small balls and putting them into his pocket for later. He smirks as they leave layer on his hands. The gates would begin to open, and Deku, having hung out with Bakugo all of his life, would straight away rush out, not caring if he was supposed to. To his surprise, he didn't get told off, smirking a little bit before throwing his hands behind him. Everyone watching on as Deku's hands shine bright with a huge explosion, going off from both palms at the same time, shooting Deku forward and going quick. He flies as quick as possible, looking around him, seeing all the robots below him. He makes a quick hard right turn before going down an alleyway, seeing about 7 points worth of robots. He grabs one of the balls from his pockets and throws it down the alleyway, rushing back out to the main city. He blows up the small ball, taking out all the 7-point robots before rushing down the city again. He starts going ham on all the robots. He'd smash into them, leaving some thermite behind on them as he keeps running, blowing them up behind him as he goes onto the next one. He'd grab some of the balls from his pocket and use them on some of the robots in front of him, scoring about another 8 points. Mind you, everyone's still waiting to come out. Deku already on about 20 points. They finally come out and Deku would just continue, going completely ham on the robots. He uses his thermite to blast himself around the arena, dropping mini bombs over the robots. He'd run in and show his 1v1 capabilities. This goes on for about 10 minutes straight. Borderline all the robots completely gone until, like in canon, Deku would feel something. He watches around as all the students run the opposite direction, watching as the 0-pointer peeks his head around the corner. Deku, seeing this, smirks, watching everyone run. Yeah, you lot are weak. He blasts up about 30 meters into the air, about belly height of the 0-pointer. He keeps himself semi-level, setting off small explosions in his hand and staring it down. As he does this, he starts producing as much thermite as he can. He smirks, looking down at the robot before hearing something. A girl from directly below him, trapped under some falling debris. His face immediately goes pale, dropping a smirk. In his mind, everything was flooding at once. He could destroy this thing, but would it hurt the girl? He originally wanted to beat the 0-pointer to show off, but now there's someone there. That changes everything. He shakes his head out clear, locking back in as if he was destroying it to protect someone. He had to go all out. He lunges higher and higher, a ball forming in both palms, growing and growing. The teachers watch on, most of the shock face on their head as he soars. Deku lands on his head, slamming one of the balls down before jumping off. The arm of the 0-pointer swats him, which he barely dodges, falling and slamming the second one into its stomach. They both stick and Deku smirks once more, dropping down and stopping himself last second. He commando rolls out of the way and Uraraka throwing a tiny bit of thermite at the rock, which cracks it. Deku grabs her and starts flying off. People watching on as the 0-pointer looms closer. Deku, knowing the time would be going off soon, descends to send it. Looking at Uraraka before telling her to block her ears. They fly past as Deku closes his eyes, concentrating. Behind him, an explosion bigger than any explosion most of them had ever seen goes off. The people in the exam rooms can feel the ground shaking. From this, the huge fireball erupts from the ground, going up into the clouds. Deku falls to his knees, a huge pain going through his head, his palms cramping up and balling themselves into fists. The teachers are stunned, dust kicking up and everyone blocking their eyes. The exam's called off as they wait for the dust to clear. Everyone locks in to see that not only was the 0-pointer's head not there anymore, everything except for its feet was completely disintegrated. And, along with that, the buildings around it were completely ruined. No one speaks. Everyone stares on at Deku, who already made a clear name for himself. He eventually gets healed up by Recovery Girl, going for his exam site to meet Bakugo. They chat for a little bit before Deku saying he overused his quirk. Bakugo's like, "Heh, was that you that shot the ground, nerd? I felt that from my exam site. Damn show off." Deku smirks a little bit, kinda proud of himself. Eventually they both split and wake the 3 weeks before their event. Then wake the 3 weeks before their letters finally arrive. Now, not only did Deku get in, he was first place with a mix of 80 villain points and 60 hero points, completely smoking everyone. Bakugo's a little bit pissed at this at first, until he receives the recording, giving Deku a slap on the back thinking it was lowkey cool as hell. For the rest of the weeks, they would just sit and chill, hitting the gym every now and then, playing some basketball, just normal stuff, until eventually the first day of school would commence. Deku and Bakugo are walking at the same time, this time getting there slightly late. They walk in without a care in the world, immediately getting stopped. Everyone stops and stares at them. The two highest point getters. Murmurs broke out. Aizawa from the floor stared at the two of them. He could tell they were monsters already. They sit down and straight away Aizawa starts the class. "Okay class, go ahead and put your gym uniforms on. We're going to be doing a quirk apprehension test." They groan before putting them all on, walking outside as Deku's throwing the ball. Aizawa begins explaining the situation, how normal tests have been based on regular stats, and how at UA they go beyond that. Deku holds onto the ball as Aizawa tells him to throw it as far as possible using his quirk. Deku looks at it, feeling it in his hands. He wonders if he can even explode it before it breaks. He decides to shrug it off, coating the back of the ball in thermite before cocking his arm back. He throws it full force, using the thermite on his palm to further propel it, getting about 400 meters before a secondary explosion hits. It gets sent flying another 400. Deku lands at about 800 meters on the dot. Everyone getting excited as Aizawa would change the rules, explaining how nothing is fair, telling them that because of this, I don't know what the hell I'm saying, telling them that because they treat it like a game, the last place will be getting expelled. Deku hearing this is completely unfazed. The class shutting up and locking in as the rest of the exam commences. From there on, he does the grip strength test, which he would get 5th in the class, I'd say. I think that's fair. He'll do the sprint, which he would use his quirk on, like a rocket booster. Making his hands in a cone behind him and sending off a huge explosion. Bakugo and him finish at about the same, the same spot, so about 3rd place. He would use his quirk like Bakugo, but a bit more time between his attacks. I'm gonna say he can make an explosion every half a second, but it's about 3 times as big as Bakugo's, so it counteracts it. Anyways, he would actually beat Bakugo on the long jump, and in the end, Deku ends up getting 2nd place. Todoroki and Bakugo beating out Todoroki and Bakugo, only losing to Momo. I could guess you could say he won though. From there, they would all go back to orientation before returning back to class, going through their regular maths, English, science classes as usual, before liking canon, a familiar face will appear. "I am here, walking through the door like a normal person." The class goes nuts as usual. Bakugo and Deku both dumbfounded too. Unlike the others, they knew his time limit, knowing he was straining himself even being here. They still see him and it puts a smile on their face. They get told to go outside, All Might presses a button. They're given pro hero uniforms and all come out. The whole my hero thing goes on in the background. Deku of course coming out looking clean like usual. I genuinely don't know what he's wearing, by the way. I didn't really think that far ahead. He does have hella gadgets though, which I will get into soon. They're paired up like in canon, and this time Deku is paired up with Mineta versus Kirishima and Tokiyami. At first, Deku thinks this is going to be light work, rushing into the building and clearing out the 1st floor. He rushes to the 2nd and completely leaves Mineta behind, once again clearing it out before rushing to the 3rd. This is where he would run into trouble. In the middle of the hallway, facing the stairs, stood Kirishima. Straight away, he would harden, pushing himself to the limit and rushing in at Deku. Deku, seeing this, smirks. Bakugo at the back of the room smirks too. "Heh, bad idea. I don't know what those gadgets are that he has on, but... Oh shit, sorry. But I wouldn't know. But I know he wouldn't leave his weak spots open like that. Before I explain what's Oh, sorry. Before I explain, let's once again go over Deku's quirk. Deku has the power to release nitrous, a thermite-like substance in a putty form from his palms. He can put it on surfaces or manipulate it and throw it, causing explosions from a distance. He can also create explosions in his hands like Bakugo, but there's a limit to the power. He also has a limit to how many explosions he can do due to the viscosity of his quirk. It takes more time for him to build up any explosive matter. Pretty much, Deku is pretty well rounded, but being able to do long distance attacks, pretty much honing attacks if he marks you, and big finisher moves unlike Bakugo. But he's limited in air control along with hand to hand combat being a weak point. His quirk allows him to increase power on attacks but overall doesn't help him as much as Bakugo's. Back to reality, Deku would watch as Kirishima flails towards him. Sorry. Deku's hands are set. On Deku's hands are a set of gloves, his first hero item. The first hero item I'm showing off. Seeing them coming in, Deku clocks his fist back. As he closes, his pump goes off, sucking some of the putty off his palms and putting it into burstable little bubbles on his knuckles. Deku finds his spot and it slams a punch. It lands right on Kirishima's gut, an already powerful punch until Deku activates his quirk. The bubbles pop over Kirishima, leaving some of the putty on him. It blows up and acts as a second impact. Kirishima is sent flying backwards, his stomach already hurting. Deku sees his drive and lowkey respects it, walking him down, flicking his hands down and outwards at once. Unbeknownst to Kirishima, this activates his secondary effect on the gloves. The leftover putty being loaded into a special little cannon that he has mounted on his wrist, like a little gun. He lifts his hand up like Iron Man and shoots a little marble at Kirishima. Time goes slow around him as he locks onto it, putting his hands in front of him, but not in time. Deku explodes it right next to Kirishima's face. It sends him flying through the wall and knocks him straight out. Tokiyami sees this, rushing out. Deku seeing Deku standing there in the hall, hands still up. Damn, these support kids know their stuff. These things are perfect. Hey Bakugo. He looks at the camera before pointing at them. I'm gonna kick your ass with these things, you see me? Bakugo in the room, although we can't hear him, knows exactly what he's saying. Yeah, as if, nerd. The fight goes on. Tokiyami, not wasting any time, sends Dark Shadow out. Deku being taken back by this, not getting his quirk at first, gets slammed into the wall. Thinking for a second as Dark Shadow retracts, he stares Tokiyami down before getting up, smirking once more, testing out another set of gear, his shoes. Deku's designed his shoes with his quirk in mind, with little tubes running down, feeding putty to the bottom of his feet. Deku gets up in the Shinra pose, like Fire Force. His feet begin burning bright in a flash of white light. Before Tokiyami can react, Deku's already in front of him. Explosions going off by his feet as Deku swings. He connects a fist, but it hits Dark Shadow. Deku lets off a huge explosion, kind of scaring the monster a little bit. Deku keeps going, straight brawling with him. Dark Shadow unable to keep up with him until he's told to stop and that the hero team had won. Both of them look confused, looking to see someone sitting on the bomb, proud of himself. They dap up before going back to the room. Deku getting praise and getting MVP, sitting and watching Bakugo's match as he would win, similar to this. It was Mineta on the bomb, by the way. He snuck in. I don't know why I didn't explain that. That's the end of part 2. It is a little bit short, 14 minutes. That's not too bad, actually. Sorry for stuttering again. I really need to fix that, or just start editing my videos. Because right now I just wake up really early, so I don't wake anyone up. Go to my script and read it. That's pretty much it. I probably should find a better way to do this. I might start doing the whole just making it up as I go. I think that wouldn't be too bad. I script it all in one go. It doesn't take too long, so it should. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you like part 2. Next part will probably be coming out 2 days from now, 1 day from now. Stay safe, stay in school. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Catch ya.